Hello everyone. In this video, we're picking out and sharing the latest topics about Asia. From one of the most famous Reddit-style forums in Japan. Even if you don't understand Japanese, we've translated everything into English subtitles and audio. So you can join the conversation as if you were in Japan. So, let's dive into the discussions happening in Japan. There's been a string of random violent attacks targeting civilians in China lately. With the worsening economic environment, anxiety is growing. China's economic growth is hitting a wall, especially for younger people. Job opportunities are shrinking, and the wealth gap is widening. To try and stop the social mood from destabilizing further, the Chinese government is expanding employment measures, particularly for younger generations. Since October, the yuan has been dropping noticeably in the foreign exchange market, which just shows how unstable things are getting.
Crazy how no one protests. Instead of protests, I guess we'll just see mass killings. China's turning into this weird mix of the worst parts of communism and capitalism, focusing on higher education when there aren't even enough skilled jobs, was definitely a mistake. Honestly, Xi Jinping probably thinks Syria's situation looks better. But nothing's changing until Xi dies. Even if he dies, it's not gonna fix anything. Remember when people thought China could avoid a hard landing by learning from Japan's bubble burst? Lol, it's not even a landing. It's a crash. Should have learned from Argentina, not Japan. Nah, they had a solid 10-year run. Can't call that a total failure. Xi's big urbanization plans flopping was the beginning of the end. Even healthcare workers and cops haven't been paid for years. If grads from top schools like Peking and Tsinghua can't find jobs, it's game over. At least China doesn't cause global chaos with stuff like financial crises the way the US does. COVID shock? Remember that? This is as good as it gets for China. It's all downhill from here. In a few years, they'll be killing each other. Both Japan and China are creditor nations. If they need cash, they'll just pull it back. The real problem? The US, which owes China money. Even in the US, the educated few are propped up by the middle class. China's balance is way off. Whatever happens, they'll just bury it and move on. Two-term limits for leaders exist for a reason. It's the same everywhere, which is pretty interesting. Still, doesn't mean Chinese people should move to other countries. At least China's space and tech fields still feel exciting. Honestly, isn't China's growth over the last 20 years thanks more to Hu Jintao than Xi? Feels like Xi just harvested the seeds Hu planted. Japan's Oda basically raised China. People have been saying China's economy is done for 10 years. But is this the real end? Young people in China aren't acting out of protest, they're just giving up and going off the rails. Honestly, I feel like Chinese people are more like Americans than Japanese. They don't save money, live for the moment, and bounce back quickly. This is just the result of eating away at domestic demand for too long. Apparently, the recent surge in anti-Japan sentiment in China is because wild anti-Japan videos are flooding social media. All that's left is rubble. The end of an evil dream. Young people being poor? Isn't that normal? What they need isn't money, it's opportunities. Deng Xiaoping was wrong to introduce a market economy to China. Planned production and consumption would have been better. If Xi hadn't extended his term, he might have been glorified. Now there's no escape. Honestly, Japan's birth rate isn't even the worst in East Asia. Even North Korea's birth rate is falling. If you complain too much, the red guys will come and take you away. Why not just overthrow Xi? In China, only armed military factions can overthrow the emperor-dictator. Ethnic uprisings in Tibet or Xinjiang get crushed easily. It's simple, there's too much young labor and not enough industries to absorb it. Just export the labor. Russia's got room. Aren't they too educated for simple labor though? China's only advantage is cheap labor. Trying to turn them into elites is like buttoning a shirt wrong from the start. Factory work is the way to go. Yeah, but culturally, China has a thing for elitism. Youth poverty is just the beginning. A society where everyone's happy is a fantasy. Even if China declines, their elite class is stronger than before. Japan's got no chance. The real challenge starts after the high growth period ends. China's gotta democratize if they want to keep growing.
Did you find this video interesting? We'll keep bringing you fun topics from Japan's online community. Please subscribe to the channel and drop some comments.